Hi everyone, I'm WFAA Chief Meteorologist Pete Delkus. I'm talking about the cap and where it comes from. Now you're watching this right now and you're like, what is he talking about? What's the cap? Okay, well the cap is this elevated mix layer, okay? You're like, okay, well what in the world's an elevated mix layer? It's a warm layer of air aloft, okay? And what it does is it prevents severe thunderstorms from developing across the area. It does, and here's a bit of a misunderstanding with this is it doesn't prevent thunderstorms, it just prevents thunderstorms from towering up to severe levels, producing tornadoes. It prevents them from producing, baseball-sized hail, and it prevents them from producing, damaging downburst winds of 70, 80, 90 miles an hour. So that's what I'm talking about, the cap. It's a lid. It's a lid on our atmosphere is really what it is. So where does the cap come from? Well, it comes from the Mexican plateau. There's warm air on these high plateaus of Mexico to the south and southwest of Texas. And when we have approaching storm systems from the west, let's say a storm system moves in from California, maybe it moves in from, New Mexico, Arizona, the desert southwest. When these big, strong storm systems start to approach, you've got this big area of low pressure. It's just pulling all of this warm air that sits, on those high plateaus of Mexico. It's pulling that warm air over the state of Texas, 3,000, 5,000, 6, 7, 8, 9,000, maybe up to 9,000 feet, but it pulls it above Texas and it puts a lid or it puts a cap across the state of Texas. Because the atmosphere typically, as you rise in height in the atmosphere cools as you rise in height. What happens when you have a cap in place, it's a warm layer of air aloft, when you have a cap in place, the atmosphere cools, and then all of a sudden it hits that warm layer of air that could be a couple hundred feet thick. It could be even thicker than that, 500, 600 feet thick, but it hits that warm layer of air and that stops thunderstorms from towering up or vertically developing across the area. So as we take a look into, let's say we look at the city of Dallas here, and we take a look at this unstable air that's near the surface. So unstable air near the surface, it rises rapidly trying to make thunderstorms. And as it rises rapidly to try to make thunderstorms, we have the unstable rising air, we have the warm stable air, but this rising air is blocked by this red area that we have shaded here. That's the cap, that's the lid. That's the elevated mixed layer, okay? And that acts like a lid, and then thunderstorms will really struggle to form. We see this every year in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. These thunderstorms will start to develop. Maybe we get a little shower. Maybe we get a little strike or two of lightning, and then you can see them they start to rise. We can look at the satellite imagery. They start to rise, and then all of a sudden they collapse. They collapse because they hit that warm, stable air, and they fall down, and they're just, in essence, truly, they're just squashed. They have no more vertical development, no more room to grow. They fall apart. Therefore, we don't have any rain, or we have very little rain, but we don't have, with a good cap in place, we don't have severe weather. That'll prevent tornadoes from developing, it'll prevent large hail from developing, and it will also prevent damaging winds from developing. Sometimes we'll even have a tornado watch that's in effect, and we don't have anything happen at all. It's because there's a cap. Why can't we forecast the cap with precision? Well, in order to do that, we would need to know what every square inch of the atmosphere has at this 3,000 to 9,000 foot level. It's just, we can't measure that we don't have that kind of data on the ground, let alone above the air. So it's always a wait and see game across North Texas and across the southern plains to see, is there a hole in the cap? Is the cap not as thick as what we think? Will the cap break? Will the cap erode? It's always a wait and see game. We always keep an eye on it. We will always keep you updated.